my cat, who is sitting over here, if she could laugh, she would be laughing big time, seeing how I struggled to record this video. How many takes I took to try to say the simple message, to tackle the topic, which basically was about overcoming the struggle. And I tried to fool the camera, tried to fool you audience, trying to present myself in a more flawless way. So every time I said something wrong or wasn't happy with a take, I would just stop and try again. Look, on the recording, it was fine, but at the time of recording I felt very bad, I felt very shy. And that proves something that I need to touch on, something which is connected to the generations, to the way how we were brought up and how we perceive the goals and achievements. And I made a script, I prepared for that, had nice punchline trying to compare my generation, millennials, with the zenials, saying that, you guys almost fixed the biggest flaw we have, but at the same time you overshot the target, you totally missed the point. And I think still that's the case, but I think we're both wrong and there is a way that we can improve. Let's hop on this journey. I started from my early childhood. In the beginning I was a chubby kid, not very popular, but by the end of primary school, and we have 8 years of primary school, in the 7th form I figured out how to improve myself. I lost a lot of weight and became quite popular, like the cool kids liked me and normal kids liked me because I was still goofy, still nerdy, and we're doing a lot of things for everyone, organizing some discos, some events. I really felt like so empowered, like I was the best. And I became quite selfish, very self-centered, and believing there are no limits. And that's what we were taught at this time. When you grew up as a millennial, you could do whatever you want. You can be next Mark Zuckerberg or next CEO, superstar. You just become celebrity overnight, millionaire. That's what we generally believed in. And that stayed very, very deep and created very toxic productivity. And I had good examples of how toxic it was even at the school level. In the 7th form, I created paper, which was proving that I cannot work in a team and I just care about what I need, and it failed massively. But I thought, amazing, I did a paper in the school. And the next year, because I abandoned this one because I was bored, the next year the younger kids came with their own project, new paper, and it was so much better, like it was amazing. And they created that as a collaboration, and I was jealous. That was the only feeling I had. I was jealous, I was angry. I took a bunch of pencils and just snatched them in front of them when they were doing presentation. I still thought I can be the best. There are no limits to whatever. We had another paper in high school, and we thought, we are in the independent press, and there was some festival in our town, so we just crushed it. We made some homemade badges, independent press, and we crushed it, and we interviewed some at the time popular European pop star. No question asked. We're so sure that we can do whatever we want, and that helped me in the beginning of a career. And I had quite brutal reality check, because when I wanted to go to uni, I was so sure that I started arguing with the commission who was doing the exam with us to check if I'm capable to attend this university, and I failed. I didn't get my spot. Had to go to the weekends university, which is paid, so I had to go to work. And I found nice work in bakery, marketing, because again I was able to show someone funky skills, and I was very talkative. Then I just dropped it because I was bored, because I thought that's not for me. I want something better. I approached some company about programming, went over there, I can do that work for you. And I got the job. It wasn't so well paid, but I just continued with this attitude, like I can do whatever I want. And that really helped me in the beginning of a career. I really went from stages to stages, like rock star attitude. People saw that. People saw that I can crush those things around me, like I can really go far, and they use that. So I had a case when we have a very specific law in Poland that forbids you from being able to drink alcohol in public places. Quite similar, like in the States, you have to have a bar. In Poland, you cannot sit in the park and have a beer on a bench with your friends. And as a young adult by that time, we thought that's unfair, that's wrong. And my mates came to me like, oh, can you challenge that? So I went, look on legal acts regulating that, and there was backdoor that we can deal with a city and organize something. And a few months later, I was in Parliament debating the thing. It failed, and I'm quite happy actually it failed, because now I understand the side effects of alcohol. But I was in the TV, I was in the radio, and because only I dared, this drove me through all the stages, next. And this way I built quite a good career. But I was always hungry, I was always unhappy from the results because I wasn't Mark Zuckerberg by this time. And this is so typical. And when I saw in hindsight many of my friends who built their own businesses and so on, all of them seemed quite small, quite trivial. I couldn't understand how they're making money when I'm doing the big things with the big companies and they do better. They have a better standard of living. The main problem was that I had to reach for the big things. I wasn't ever satisfied with something normal, something which was average. And I thought average is bad. And that's really funny how it differs in between cultures, you know. I think in English and the same like in Polish, you say something normal, that really means average, which means meh. But if you look on Russian language, for instance, like normalne, means something actually good, because people had abnormal things in the past and they learned to cherish whatever is normal. That's like Far Eastern European culture. They really understand that if you have things normal, it's already better than everyone else. And we millennials in the Western world, we really struggle understanding that. But okay, we had a nice life and reached a lot, and then crisis came. And on the back of this, you know, toxic productivity, which led to anxiety and to mental breakdowns, now we're in a situation when a lot of people cannot afford normal living. The people cannot afford the house, when previous generation had absolutely no problem with that, and they don't understand our struggle. The same people who told us like we can do whatever we want, now telling us to, you know, like don't buy avocado on toast. And then the next generation comes, the zenials, and they're saying like, oh, that really sucks, like I'm not signing up for that. I wouldn't care. Like if someone who's older than me and has more experience in the industry struggles to have a good standard of living, why I should care? Why I should even try? So instead of reaching for the two big goals, many people are just saying like, man, I would just do enough to cope, just to go by, and I wouldn't care. And I think both ways are wrong in a way, because there was another thing I need to come back to, is the lack coming from two aspects. The one is that I was one of the first millennials and very exposed to Generation X, and people really underestimate the resilience of Generation X. These people don't really give a damn, and that's so good for them. There's so many successful people from Generation X because they don't moan. They just go by and do things which are necessary for the good living. They're doing things which are necessary to meet the goals, and they will be very happy to compromise. They have this one thing which is very, very unique and is really missing in the further generations: ability to compromise. If you look on millennials, and unfortunately data shows something similar with millennials, we have two generations of people who, because of not achieving their vision, so either, you know, you cannot have the best thing or you wouldn't care, we seeing some challenge, we are just dropping and running away. That's so typical for us. And now you have a generation of people who not only struggle in the business, in the financial life because of that, but also there are a lot of lonely people, single people who, seeing challenge in a relationship, just run away. And only because I was exposed to ability, this skill of finding compromise and trying to open up to other people. Thanks to that, I was able to find people who actually cared, who weren't afraid to tell me like, you are an idiot, you are doing these things wrong. And those people who were brutally honest, who were breaking my bones, they shaped me in a better way. They showed me how to grow. those people, I had a very brutal bosses in the past, and they told me that it's okay to fail if I fail once. When I failed twice, that was a problem, but they were brutally honest. I met people who weren't afraid to say, like don't date with this girlfriend because she's wrong, and they were always right. And funny enough, in the end, I met someone who was eager to accept my flaws and work on me and work with me and find compromises. And that is now 10 years of amazing marriage, which has ups and downs. But if I wasn't able, like many of my peers, to just work on things, if I was still dropping things because they're not good enough, it wouldn't happen. Now, thanks to that, we have two amazing challenges very fast growing up, which make me worry because I want to teach them the same skill. I don't want to put them in a bubble like many people, even at some point including me, from our generation. We were put in this helicopter parent bubble that we just cannot be heard. We just have to be shielded from all the difficult things. And if you look on other cultures, if you look more into, for instance, Asia, people don't have that problem because they're exposing their children to the challenges, and it's accepted. Over here in the West, you are judged, very negatively judged, if you are exposing your child to some not pleasant situation. You are judged if you are not helicopter parent, which starts to be quite problematic because you are raising weak people. The same weak people as many millennials and many zenials became because the way how we were brought up. And just to wrap up, coming back to like business and running things, the biggest struggle I had again was because my goals were just too big. I didn't try to do things small steps. I was thinking like, if I cannot get massive VC, if I cannot get massive mass investment, if I cannot compete with the big players, it's not worth trying. Because of this thinking that I cannot do things the best, I cannot do things to the Mr. Beast level, I started recording some YouTubes, and then I stopped because I thought, oh, my studio isn't as good as his, my audience isn't as big as his, I'm not as good in finding time to do that, so why would I bother? To be honest, actually I should keep trying, because the moment I was doing that, I was getting better. The moment I stopped, I struggled again. Previous videos were far better in the way how I deliver because I was doing that all the time. And now you see, like, I'm stressed talking to you, which shouldn't be the case if I practiced. And then many people younger than me saw something like that, and they say like, okay, I just cannot attract any VCs. I just cannot think of a big enough idea. So why would try? And the thing I learned over and over, and I learned from people wiser, quite often younger than me, was that just try small things, iterate. And the best things I learned in the recent years were just trying small things, trying new things, trying to put yourself outside of a comfort zone, learn things you have never tried. I'm an engineer looking into doing things in IT, doing software, and then I released 3 books by this time, and I released them not to show off so much, but just to do something I haven't done before. And I learned this way, not only about how to publish things, which is a new thing useful when I'm creating assistance for content management, but also in the next one, I learned how to do journalism, how to look into archives, how to dig into history. So now working in the media, I understand my clients better, but also I understood like I can fail and it's okay. And I made mistakes. The books aren't bestsellers, but I made a small step to just be better, and that makes me so powerful inside, so happy, because I wasn't stagnant. And I hope my kids are seeing that. I hope they see that is not afraid to make mistakes. So my cat is gone already because she was probably bored by that rant, but I would really like to see what you think about this topic. Do you have a similar experience about struggle? Are you on the side which is looking for the too big goals, or on the side who doesn't bother? Am I right in generalizing that by the generations? And if you spend so much time with me and you like what I said, or maybe dislike, but you still watch me, have you tried to look on a few things I did? things which may fail. I can show you, like over here you have a close pass app which are made for people who aren't closely passed on bicycles. I did it over a weekend and some people are using that. It's actually that's quite helpful. There's a book I wrote, my latest book, when I was interviewing cyclists with their head cams, Jeremy Vine, Cycling Mikey. There was another book I wrote about becoming developer. Should you become a software developer? Check one of these things. The links will be down. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, and let's challenge ourselves. I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell I'm doing here? I don't belong here.